One of the most common ways that we interact with people is by having a meal together. But for someone with low vision, having a meal with friends and family can be really frustrating. So I'm going to give you some tools to help you make having a meal together a joyful event and not frustrating and anxious. The first thing to consider when you're having someone over who has low vision is the lighting. Assess your lighting. Even though candles and mood lighting can be beautiful and dramatic, for someone with low vision, it just makes it really hard to see. So if you have a dark room, turn the lights up. Even though it may look too bright to you, bright light will allow your low vision guests to see better, and it'll make them more comfortable while sitting down to a meal. Once you have your bright lights on, think about your place setting. One of the things that becomes more difficult as you start to lose your vision is the ability to discern between two objects that are similar in color. We call this low contrast. With low vision, it's difficult to see where a white plate ends and a white placemat begins. This can be really frustrating for someone who has low vision, because then they're worried about their food falling off of their plate and making a mess. One easy fix that you can do is to change out your placemat or your tablecloth for a dark placemat. So now you have a high contrast between your white plate and the dark blue placemat underneath. The plate becomes clear. This makes a huge difference to someone who has low vision and will make them so much more comfortable now that they know where everything is. Once you created a comfortable place setting for someone with low vision, think about the food that you're going to serve them. Could you eat that with your eyes closed? Does the food move around the plate, or is it pretty easy to eat with a spoon or a knife and fork? Does the food need to be cut up, or is it already in bite-sized pieces? Thinking about things like this beforehand just makes it more comfortable for the person with low vision, and they will feel happier. Next, consider how the food will be plated. You may want to consider plating all the food in the kitchen and then bringing it out to the table. An easy way to plate the food is to think about the plate like it's the face of a clock. Plating the main part of the meal, like the quiche, at 6 o'clock, or where 6 o'clock would be on the clock face. And then your vegetables may be at 9 o'clock, and your fruit at 3 o'clock. Then when you bring the food to the table, you can place the plate down and simply say to, your Aunt Susie with low vision, "Here, I put the quiche at the bottom of the plate at 6 o'clock. The vegetables are on the left, up at 9, and the fruit is on the right at 3. Now, Susie has a really good idea of where everything is on her plate. You can do the same thing with the water glass and the coffee cup and say, "Susie, your water glass is to the right of your plate at 1 o'clock, and your coffee cup is at 2. Now she has a really good idea of where everything is in front of her, and she can be comfortable that she doesn't need to ask. This is a simple and unobtrusive way to make the meal easier for the person with low vision. And finally, once everything is put down and Aunt Susie knows where all the things are, resist the urge to move anything. Sometimes we feel like there's a certain way that things should look, and we just move things around a little bit when we see that something's a little out of place. But for someone who is blind, or for someone who has low vision, that makes it very, very difficult for them to keep track of where things are. They thought that their cup was in one place, but when they went to reach for it, it was gone. This is one of the biggest complaints from people who are blind or have low vision. They've memorized where things are, but when they go back to them, they're not there anymore. So if you're sighted, resist the urge to move things unless it's in a dangerous situation and something's going to fall. In that case, tell the person, Aunt Susie, your coffee cup is so close to the edge, I think it might fall. I'm going to move it in a couple of inches. It's still to the right of your plate. This way, the person who has low vision still knows where things are. And they know that you're looking out for them, and they feel good about that. Eating a meal is a great way for people to connect. For people with low vision, sharing a meal can be frustrating. So, before they come over, think about your lighting. Can you make the room brighter? What's the contrast like between the plate and the tablecloth or the placemat? Can you increase the contrast so that the plate is easier to see? Think about the foods that you're going to serve. Is this food that you could easily eat with your eyes closed? And consider plating the food in the kitchen, using the face of a clock as a guide. When you bring them their food, let them know where things are, using the clock face or clues like left and right. And lastly, once they have a good idea of where everything is in front of them, don't move anything. They've memorized where things are, so that when they want them, they're in the right place. If it's a situation where something's going to fall, let them know that you're moving it and where it's going. They appreciate these things, and it'll make a big difference in making them feel comfortable so that you can enjoy a meal together. If you're interested in learning more about eating with low vision, please check out our blog, where we have articles to help both the caregiver and the people living with low vision.